What's up, y'all? My name is Josh Hash, and at one point in my life, this was me. Now, this is me today. Training has changed me physically, but movement has changed who I am at my core. In this series, we discuss what's behind training at a deeper level. Welcome to Raw. Last year, I had an inspiring chat with my buddy Daniel from Fitness FAQs about why we train. Those feelings that excite you about a specific movement or a type of, or like a discipline or something, like those should be honored, and you should honor that passion inside you, essentially.
That's fantastic advice. And it's the most difficult thing sometimes is knowing what you want. And if you don't know what you want, then you're going to gravitate towards maybe what's mainstream, what's popular. Not that there's anything bad with that, but if it doesn't resonate with your level of enjoyment, then you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to work as hard. So that's
why do you train your body? For me, it did start with very superficial reasons, and I think it's the same for most young men. It's like moving into adulthood, we want to prove that we're not kids anymore. Usually a lot of good things come from it. You grow some muscle, you gain some confidence. What's funny is that superficial reasons are a great way to get started in training, but they're one of the worst to actually keep you training. Luckily, there does seem to be a way to keep gaining muscle, losing fat, progressing and feeling good in your body that's a lot more healthy and sustainable. Superficial reasons means our motivation to do something is outside of ourselves. In psychology, they call this extrinsic motivation, and in general, this means we're doing something to gain a reward or avoid something negative. Now, the opposite is intrinsic motivation, which means we do something for ourselves because we enjoy it or gather fulfillment from it. When I first started going to the gym, my extrinsic motivation was attention and self-esteem. I wanted respect from my fellow guys, and I wanted to be seen more by the girls. But people who keep a healthy relationship with their bodies and training always switch to an intrinsically motivated mindset. It doesn't mean you don't want the respect of your peers or recognition for your hard work, but the balance starts to shift. You keep doing your sport because you love your sport. You love the movement. You love the way that it makes you feel. I've always been a huge fan of just like telling people to prioritize a performance goal over like a physique goal or like a more of like a numbers goal. Like I've never seen someone that can do, 5 handstand push-ups and doesn't like have good shoulders. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. And I feel that that's a transition. I see a lot of people starting in aesthetics, starting in bodybuilding. Their mindset would be, I've got to chase the pump, I've got to get the burn. And they're going to get to the same situation as someone that's doing handstand push-ups, relatively speaking.
Right. Picture the runner long past their prime, still putting in some weekly miles because it brings them joy. Picture the yogi or martial artist who stays consistent to their daily practices no matter what life throws at them. Why is this? Why do they keep at it while others find it challenging just to stick to a plan? Falling in love with the process is the best way to see long-term results. The process of coming back week after week with renewed spirit to improve. The process of being in a process. See, that's a tricky thing to understand, but as humans, it feels really good to be in some type of A to B process. We crave adventure. We crave problem solving. And it seems to give us an antidote to the question, why are we here? It gives our lives a little bit more meaning. See, life has become significantly less work than ever. My grandparents migrated here from Mexico at 18 years old. They were driving up California, looking for work and a place to live. Also, I can sit here 60 years later and watch people dance on TikTok. Go out there and learn how to do muscle ups, or go out there and challenge yourself to learn a handstand. And it's like, and it's just a way more like gratifying experience to go through that and to get that physique on the back end, like secondary, but it's still there. It still comes. But you also like get this really like rich experience of going after something and attaining something.
Exactly. And I feel
these days it's easy to take on no adventure, no hardship, no process at all. But despite technology and social media, there's still a few things left that get us back in touch with our humanity. Friendship, nature, art, just to mention a few. What's really special about these is you can't buy them, and health is the same. Sure, you can buy fancy gadgets and track everything until the cows come home, but no one can do the work for you. No one can make you fall in love with the process. This fascinating thing happens when you come less attached to those external rewards and more in tune with your own passions for training. Often, you see better results. Those rewards that you were seeking earlier in your career, they just suddenly appear. Daniel puts it very nicely here. Yeah.
What I've found is that if you focus on the process of doing the training to a high standard, you're going to eventually get the PRs and the appearance over time. But I find that it's hard to make the distinction. But if you're just doing quality work and you're objectively improving over time, you're going to get the stuff that superficially, the average person wants.
Right. But, it's the intentions are a bit different, right? Focusing on getting better at your training because you love it often leads to the best byproducts of all: a great physique, healthy joints, and a good bill of health. But you also get better at something and learn about yourself in the process. I want to thank HVMN for sponsoring this video. So I started taking Keytone IQ because I was doing some intermittent fasting. I wanted some help with appetite control. But after taking it for a couple weeks, I was really blown away with how much my energy levels went up. Both my physical energy levels, but also in my mind when I'm doing more thoughtful work. There's 10 grams of ketones packed in here. They help you focus better and boost your athletic performance. So for me, what I've seen is I've been able to get leaner, but also perform better. And I think that's what a lot of us are looking for. For the StrengthSide family, we get 30% off of our first subscription order of Keytone IQ. All you gotta do is follow that link on the screen or in the description. Tastes great, give it a try. Let's get back to the video. When I first got into like the fitness industry and whatnot, I was trying to be someone that was doing the things that I thought were like popular, and I was essentially like reaching for like validation from others, and I was like trying to validate myself, right? Essentially, I came to a place where I just wanted to turn what I was doing physically into something that I really enjoyed, and something that like made me feel good and filled me up rather than the opposite. From the time I stepped in the gym at 17 into my mid-20s, I was constantly feeling disappointed. I'd look in the mirror and think, why can't I get bigger? Why can't I be leaner? I was constantly switching up my training, going from bodybuilding to CrossFit style workouts to powerlifting. I couldn't stick with one thing because I wasn't happy with myself. So I thought that the next training modality would fix my problems. And maybe not so coincidentally, my early 20s were filled with anxiety and self-consciousness. I just didn't feel right in the world. This all changed when I had a knee injury and I couldn't train the same way. I had to find something that I could do. I'd always been fascinated by people who could stand on their hands, and I decided to take on the challenge of learning a handstand. I mean, how long could it take? A month, maybe? Well, it took me closer to a year to get a 30-second handstand, but that year was super transformational. I found that switch that we talked about earlier to falling in love with the process. I can remember days feeling so frustrated, like my handstand wasn't improving at all, but I'd wake up the next morning excited to work on it again. No longer was I concerned about my physique, but I was getting lost in the process of learning new things and accomplishing new goals. Suddenly, I woke up one day with an athletic, lean physique, the one I was trying to get for years. This is when I realized that it was much healthier for me to focus on performance rather than aesthetics or some type of other outcome result. I started to notice my peers in the same field who were focused on getting better at a hobby or a sport seemed to have really healthy relationships with their body and exercise practice. And friends that were mostly focused on trying to get bigger muscles and a six-pack usually stopped working out altogether.
Yeah. We're in this world, which is great. We're appreciating that there's so many different things we can do, gain all of these benefits. How do you cut the noise and focus and improve? Do you have any helpful tips?
Improve something, you got to spend a good amount of time doing it, right? Like you're not going to do something for a few weeks and see a result. You got to do something for a few months, a few years maybe, right? So I always try to
Now, you don't have to do it the way that I did it, but what does seem to be important is to work on bettering yourself. This looks different for different people, but there's two crucial principles to keep in mind. Number one is focus on quality. Be mindful. Don't just try to do more, do better. Now, with number one in mind, seek progress, seek mastery. This could be gradually increasing the amount of weight that you're lifting, going from one exercise to a harder progression, getting better at your sport, or unlocking a new skill. The point is that we're slowly working towards a mastery of our movement. Switching to a performance/process mindset will look different for everyone depending where you are in your fitness journey. We are big fans of calisthenics because most movements involve a higher skill component. This means you have to become stronger and develop a new movement pattern or coordination. The muscle up is a great example. Most people who can do 5 pull-ups and 5 dips have the strength to do a muscle up, but it takes a lot of effort to learn the skill. It takes failing, learning, and refining. Remember the younger you that loved to play with your friends? The one that grew up loving a certain sport or activity? That passion to play and explore is still inside you, but it gets traded for what we're told to be into as adults. Training, workouts, fitness. Now take it from me, I love to train. Putting in reps, that daily grind, growing stronger, but I also know that there's an athletic part of me that I have to honor. That side of me that wants to play, compete, solve a problem, and most adults are missing this in their lives. It feels great to work our body and strive for something, but when we treat our fitness as a means to an end, just to accomplish a final product, often we miss a lot of the juice that lies inside. Activities that are growing in popularity like climbing, jiu-jitsu, pickleball, disc golf, animal movements, parkour, they're all essentially ways for adults to keep playing. One foolproof way to show up every day, every week, for years, is to be pursuing things that bring you a lot of joy. So we started this video by asking, why do you train your body? And the honest truth is that we all train for a host of different reasons. We like how it feels, we like the results, and we like being in that process. But if you found the last year is hard to stay consistent with your training, it's worth examining what your motivations for training are. Do you do it for yourself, or is it something that you have to do? Have you found a training method or activity that really excites you, or are you still just doing what your friend told you to do 5 years ago? Are you working on those small improvements each day, or are you comparing yourself to some guy on the internet that's been training way longer than you? This Raw series may sometimes leave us with more questions than answers, but to find the right answers, we must ask the right questions. If you guys want to show your support, just drop us a comment, let us know where you are on your training journey. Share this video with a friend, click that like button. We'll see you in the next one, as always.